How's it going, chumps? This is the Chump Change Trader, and this is the small account challenge with a little update. It's actually 4:25, April 25th, 2023 at 10:43 a.m. So it's a Tuesday. I'm able to record this live during the market, and yeah, just a crazy update in terms of just sort of if you've been sleeping on sort of the whirlwind of news this coming week, a lot of earnings today, and at the same time, consumer sentiment and real estate numbers have just come out. Real estate is actually better than estimates, which is good to degree, depending on how you look at it. And then consumer sentiment definitely missed. So there's a bit of a mixed bag of what was going on. But the biggest news that pretty much put the biggest drag on the entire market was FRC just announced their earnings. And so, yeah, they dropped like 27%, which is very, very interesting. So it's dragging the financials, energy's down. So there's quite a bit of drag into the market. And what does this all mean? Well, we got earnings literally at noontime for big names like Visa. Sorry. We got big names for just today. I'm not quite sure what the timing of it, but I guess we have Microsoft. We have Visa. We have Google or Alphabet. So those are big names, and those, especially in particular Microsoft and Alphabet, since they're in the tech sector, not necessarily the semiconductor space, this semiconductors move with sympathy with tech. So if Microsoft and Google have some decent earnings, then what will happen is that it will pull semiconductors out of this little rut. So what does that mean for the positions that we have right now? Well, if you remember that the most current iron condor that I have right now is more bullish leaning. Now, in that particular case, I don't need all of this upside protection as of right now. And so what I want to do, and why I wanted to put into this video before I lose my opportunities, that as it's getting tested onto this side, I will actually just simply take my profit right here. So I'll take my $33.47, close this whole position, and what I'll do is I'll reopen on the 52 days to expiration, and I'll either decide one thing. I'll either mimic and double down on this position. So what I'll do is I'll scale into this position, and so with this position we have a 392 as a break even. So that'll give us a little less than $10 downside protection for the current moves, because it all depends on sort of where I think that if tech is going to, or Microsoft and Google is going to bring this bell curve back towards the middle, I may not need such heavy upside protection. But I also know that I cannot rely on just two companies to bring up the entire market sector as well. So there is a sickness in terms of the market, and as I mentioned before, it's going to be resting on the laurels of these big names. 32 companies of the entire S&P 500 and the Nasdaq are literally upheld earnings wise, market movement wise. They're the ones carrying the team. That's kind of brutal in the sense that if their earnings are not good, then basically the whole market goes down with it. So we'll watch very closely on those two names. I may just close this position now or close it later, but since we're in such testy waters right now, if the sentiment for the two companies are going to be low and it brings the market down even further, I may not even be able to take any kind of profit. So I'm just going to close the position now, so that way we can just lock in some profit. So go ahead, and this 190 is going to be the debit that will pay back. So I received $200-ish for this position, 200 and some change, and then now I'm going to pay back 190 for this position, and then thus locking in that $33-ish in profit, right? And then so for this iron condor right here, all I have to do is just basically mimic both the expiration and the positions. So luckily they've noted it right here for me. So all I can do is just simply follow my footsteps right here. There's a 280 credit right here for 222 buying power, and that's that nice ratio where it's like my risk to reward is my credit is going to be higher than my risk. So I think I like that. And then I'll just simply put on that position, and then hopefully it'll fill. And yeah, that's risk management in terms of, you know, where you start to get tested on one side. Hopefully that fills. But if it doesn't fill, I can always just simply wait and see what's going to happen. And if we happen to be moving backwards towards like a more neutral position, I can definitely put this position down. Or if things are start to looking a little bleak in terms of what's going to happen, what I'll do is I'll take the positions that are one step lower or closest to one step lower. So in essence, if I need more downside protection, I will buy a 380 and sell a 385, right? And then I will buy a 435 and then sell a 430, right? Shifting it ever so slightly lower. So then that way it gives me some of that extra protection on that downside. And quite frankly, since it didn't fill, and now that I'm talking about it, I may just do that. It will not be the same risk to reward profile as what I was receiving with that previous position, but we'll see just how much different that is and whether or not it is worth it at that particular point. Oop, I did that backwards. So 280 for 226, and I get some downside protection. Like, talk about, am I dreaming? Let me just redo that one more time just to make sure I got my numbers correct. So sell the 430, buy the 435, 280, 226. Yeah, same risk profile, which is fantastic. And then coupled with the idea that I got some extra downside protection, I might just go ahead and send that one. And then let's see if it fills. But that's risk management 101 in terms of being able to pay attention to sort of what's going on with the market, simultaneously understanding that that you're going to basically, make sure that as you get tested on one side, you pay close attention to it, and then you make a decision there. Do I close a position, either take an out or lower profit, and then shift my direction? Or do I decide to, in the case of undefined risk, do I just simply roll it? And I've not been able to put on a position where I can just simply roll the position, which is a much more favorable, easier way and profitable way to sort of manage defensively. However, the account size still not big enough for that. Still, trying to pad the account so that way we can be able to make some more of those decisions. But nevertheless, you still have to pay attention in terms of how you are going to defensively roll and how you're going to manage your positions. So without further ado, hope that was helpful. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one.